Hi, I'm Djalma Gomes, also known as DJ. In this video, I'm going to present LeanApps method, which is a methodology created by me based on my 17 years of field experience in managing Oracle implementations, upgrades and rollouts in Brazil and abroad. Between 1997 and 2005, when I joined Oracle as a project and program manager, I had the opportunity to teach Oracle methodologies to other project managers in Brazil and abroad and recover a few troubled projects. But LeanApps method is based not only on my field experience and on my knowledge on Oracle methodology. It uses several techniques, games and dynamics for project management and for organizational change management that turn out to be very effective. If you have any question, just contact me and I'll be glad to help. Thank you. But before I start explaining how LeanApps method works, let's first take a look on previous and retired Oracle methodologies. Oracle had different methodologies to address different project life cycles. They had two methods for application implementation called AIM and AIM for Business Flows, or ABF, which was an accelerated approach for application implementations. They had one method for application upgrades called EMM, Easy Path Migration Methodology. They had two methods for custom development projects called CDM and CDM Fast Track, and one method for data warehouse implementations. Besides, Oracle also had another method for project management called PJM, which means that in every single project, two different methods were used, one for the project lifecycle and another one for the project management. Along the years, Oracle acquired different software houses like PeopleSoft and Siebel. Each one came with their own specific method to implement their products. Oracle also created templates to implement its middleware, like Beeple and EDI. They adopt UML and Scrum notations and developed a strategic process group that embraced the entire organization in order to help them planning their IT project portfolio. None of those previous work methods are now valid, neither PeopleSoft Compass nor Siebel Roadmap. All those different methods, templates, notations and processes are now gathered into OUM, Oracle Unified Method, which is the only methodology certified by Oracle. As I mentioned, OUM uses different notations for system development, which may be used for custom development projects or customizations in Oracle EBS implementations and upgrade projects. There are templates in which you may use user stories, which came from Scrum, or several models and diagrams used in UML, Unified Modeling Language. Not to mention the good old requirements list, business roles, and structure analysis, which are not listed in this slide. OUM is scalable and flexible because it's meant for different project life cycles and products, and it also includes tasks and documents for project management and change management. You need to pick whatever makes sense to your project specifically. OUM has over 300 different tasks and deliverables. Around 86 tasks repeat themselves throughout the phases. We have tasks using up to 4 templates and others with no template at all. Templates being used in several tasks. It uses all types of notations such as use case, user stories, flowcharts, behavioral diagrams, classes diagrams, sequence diagrams, and others. That's why some templates seem redundant among themselves. You need to choose amongst this ocean of templates which one to use in your particular project. Not to mention that a wide variety of templates are not well formatted in my opinion, which makes the work of filling them up a challenging task. Besides, OUM does not point out techniques and approaches for change management, but merely templates. I believe we need to make our projects as lean and simple as possible. Documents are not the end purpose for a project. They are only means to reach an end, and they must be used as long as they remain useful. In other words, we need to keep as simple as possible, but not simpler, and yet smart. I now introduce LeanApps method, which is a methodology created by me, who have been doing this since 1997, leading national and global programs concerning Oracle EBS in all types of industry segments. LeanApps method uses interesting techniques, dynamics, and games for change management, trained project management techniques based on business model canvas and project module canvas, and has well-formatted templates based on my field experience. LeanApps methodologies focus only on Oracle EBS, and it also covers different life cycles like upgrades, implementation, and rollouts, which are implementations with high focus on change management and a few extra tips. LeanApps method also includes project management, change management, and program governance approaches. So, what's the difference between OUM and LeanApps method? The main differences are not within the scope boundaries, but in how we do it. It's not only a different method, but the way it's used, it's radically distinct. Since one size never fits all, the consultancy I provide is to tailor the method to your needs. Remember that if the only tool we have is a hammer, everything may appear like a nail. Let's now start showing LeanApps method for upgrade projects. If you have seen my video on upgrade projects, compare EM with OUM, you already know some of the main differences between an upgrade and an implementation project. If you haven't seen that video, I strongly suggest you to watch. LeanApps method considers those differences in order to be more effective in the management and the governance area. Upgrades are about doing several simulations to guarantee new version is stable. So in every upgrade project, we usually execute 2 or 3 simulations. A simulation can be divided into 4 steps. First, we execute the pre-upgrade steps in the current version, cleaning all temporary tables by completing pending transactions. For instance, we cannot have a PO under approval. Cleaning interface tables by posting everything, adjusting profiles, and closing all periods. Then we have the technical upgrade itself, where the DBA applies all patches and drivers using standard Oracle utilities for that. After this, EBS is already in the new version, where the project team needs to execute the post-upgrade steps, altering setups to reflect the new version, and adjusting profiles. Once everything is set as supposed, we need to test the new version over and over again to make sure there is no bug that could impact the daily operation. Upgrading to a new version that is not stable yet could mean longer periods of tests. In the last simulation, we need to time each step executed in the pre-upgrade, in the technical upgrade, and in the post-upgrade to plan for production. There are 2 types of companies which execute and upgrade projects, the one with high governance and the ones with low governance. Since an upgrade project has a focus on existing solution, high governance means that the organization has a well-structured configuration management process in place. This means that they control their customization and extensions and understand what functionalities and features each one address, what custom objects summon to what customizations, what database objects they access, and what descriptive flex fields they use. Just having a list of custom objects and knowing which ones are still in use is not enough. For instance, you may have an extension compounded by 2 triggers, 1 package, 2 forms, 3 stored procedures, which may be replaced by a new core feature that Oracle is bringing in the new release, or maybe the business requirements which demanded them are not valid anymore. Knowing those things in advance make all the difference. Different realities related to governance require different upgrade approaches. If your company has lower governance, your project will be more painful and take longer. In a high governance context, you are able to start evaluating what customizations will be laid off and which ones will be migrated to the new version right at the project start. Developers could also evaluate what changes need to be executed even before the EBS environment in the new version is available, with the help of the 3 core Oracle reports I will show in the next slide. If you cannot know in advance what custom objects add up to what customizations and extensions, you may not be able to perform assessment upfront and will need to start a project without much assessment. Only after first simulation you may be able to know what customizations stopped working. As I have promised, I'm going to show you the 3 standard reports provided by Oracle which can help you in an upgrade project in order to evaluate changes. They are: first one is the Data Model Comparison Report. It's used to evaluate changes of database objects between 2 versions. It contains filters to query by object types such as tables, views, packages, and etc. Second report is the CD Difference Report, used to evaluate changes of apps objects between 2 versions, such as profile, value sets, flex fields, and etc. And the third is the File Comparison Report, used to evaluate changes of files between 2 versions, such as Java classes, forms, and reports. If you need further information about those tools, just look for doc ID 1290886.1 at Oracle MetaLink website. Let's now take a look at LeanApps method for upgrade, shown in a timeline format. Every project must have a good initiation phase to map business benefits that are expected to achieve aligned with the project objectives. Sometimes people lose sight of what's really important for their organization and are not able to prioritize scope requirements. The project planning must start from the project objectives and business benefits in a method I will show you in a while. A mature closure phase is also an important part of the project governance, not only to get project acceptance and map lessons learned, but mainly to communicate to senior management what are the business benefits that the project delivered. It's vital to promote the project to senior executives by presenting those benefits. Trust me on that. Next phase are just what you expect from an upgrade project to be. First is assessment, where we evaluate new features and functionalities that will be implemented. The idea here is to prioritize only those new features that are really important for the corporate strategy, and not all of those nice to have. We cannot forget this is an upgrade project. New enhancements could be implemented in future release or projects. In this phase, we also define what customizations will be laid off and what are the updates required for custom objects that will be migrated. For that, we could also use the 3 core reports shown in the previous slides to map the changes between releases. Second phase is build and simulation, where we build any new customizations as few as possible, update the old customizations that will be migrated to the new version, perform the upgrade simulations, and test the entire new system version. Third phase is transition, where we train users in the new navigability, perform user validation tests, convert all custom menus and responsibilities, deploy all updated custom objects that will continue in the new release, and finally upgrade to production. Fourth phase is production, where we sustain production for a short period and provide final knowledge transfer to clients' IT department and key users. Only 8 processes are considered in an upgrade project according to LeanApps method. They are management and governance, which as a matter of fact is not a single process, but an entire area that I will explain later on in this video. First real process is the functional and technical analysis, which includes the architecture and capacity plan required for the new version, the functional analysis related to version changes, and analysis required for the customization updates. This process is expected to be performed in the first phase. Then we have simulation, which is the main process where we execute the upgrade, the pre-upgrade, and the post-upgrade steps as already explained. It may be one of the first tasks in the project, occurring at the same time that the functional and technical analysis happen in a fast-track approach, but it may benefit from info generated by the analysis process. The less simulation performed, the faster will the project be. Simulation is represented twice in this timeline, meaning 2 upgrade simulations. But as I said, the project could require a third simulation depending on some variables. Patches applied to fix bugs during first simulation must be applied during technical upgrade step at the second simulation. Update interfaces and update customizations are shown as different processes instead of one due to their different importance. Interface should be updated first due to its impact in integration tests and in the final solution. Integration ideally should be included to be tested before second simulation. Those 2 processes may start right after assessment starts and must be finished before the end of last simulation. Training and user validation is represented as one process because sometimes training on new navigability happens through user validation tests. For larger companies where more users ought to be trained, this process will be performed in 2 steps. If required, training material should be created during last simulation. Remember, it's an upgrade and users only need to be trained on navigability changes and new features or functionalities. Cutover is the 6th process and it starts during last simulation when all steps performed must be timed as an input for the cutover plan. This is necessary to decrease system downtime in the production migration, which happens in transition phase. Go live also requires user training and validation to occur. And final process is handover takeover, which actually starts before with the client's IT team and users along the project, but as a structured task, it will happen at the production phase. Let's now see the application of LeanApps method for an implementation project lifecycle. It may be a regular implementation or a rollout, since both are implementations. What will change is the management and governance used in each one due to the difference between an implementation and an upgrade project. For that, I suggest you to watch the video about Oracle EBS rollout to Brazil. But since rollouts are, as a matter of fact, implementations, what are the differences between them? Indeed, there are almost no difference in the project lifecycle, but rollouts are far more complex from the managerial perspective. Let's now take a look at LeanApps method for rollouts and implementations lifecycle, shown in a timeline format. Just like LeanApps method for upgrades, rollout and implementation also includes mature initiation and closing phases. Just like upgrades, the lifecycle phases here are exactly what we expect them to be in order to be lean. First phase is CRP, First Conference Room Pilot, which is meant to define the detailed solution that will go live. The consultants must present a pre-configured vanilla instance, also known as visual instance, along with the macro business flows and a high-level apps architecture, showing how the different modules interact among themselves. Similar I have presented in the video about the rollouts. The idea behind the business flows and the high-level apps architecture design is to help key users to picture the overall solution before digging into details within the visual instance. CRP1 should not contain specific setups addressed to the client. It should be a fast phase in order to prioritize the approved gap list and to define setups. Test scripts also start being built in this phase. CRP2, which is meant to test the vanilla solution configured for the client. So at this phase, setups are executed to reflect the future solution for the client, and system is intensively tested to search for bugs and fix them. Gaps should be specified in this phase, starting with the interface that should be the first one to finish being developed. Third phase is CRP3, which purpose is to test and validate the entire solution, including all customizations, extensions, interface, data conversion scripts, reports, and workflows that were developed. Fourth phase is transition, where users are trained and then they validate the system. Cutover plan is executed to deploy the solution to production. This phase ends with the go-live. Fifth phase is production, and the goal here is to decommission any legacy system and co-support the system with the client's personnel. Remember that the customer will inherit the system, and therefore consulting team and the client's team should have a mature process in place to respond to error and question requests to attend a steady knowledge transfer. I will give you more tips in the restricted area for downloads, but you may also contact me. New enhancement requests could arise in this phase, and they should be prioritized for future releases or projects. Now let's see the process as defined in LeanApps methodology. First process, or as a matter of fact, an area, as I said, is management and governance. Management and governance is perhaps the strongest value of LeanApps method. I will give you more details on this process in a while. Next process is business benefits and definition, meant to map requirements and define future solution. It starts at the project initiation with the top executives. The tools and techniques suggested will depend whether it's a small and centralized committee or a large and distributed group. The idea is to use as much visual tool as possible to align the solution with the client and evolve the solution in an iterative approach, according to what PMBOK calls a rolling wave planning. The tools and techniques described in this site's restricted area will help you achieve that. Third process is system configuration, which, as the name suggests, it's meant to map and execute system setups in the core vanilla solution. Rollouts may require aligning those setups with the global client Oracle team. It starts at the CRP1 when setups are defined. It ends at CRP3 when some setups could be changed due to bugs and problems found during tests. Fourth process is data conversion, which starts at CRP1 through definition of what entities needs to be converted, what are the business rules for conversion, the estimated volume, the tool used to convert the data, if it requires data cleansing or not, and from what legacy system it will be converted. Then it continues along the other CRPs. Next process is Usefull development, and as explained, Usefull is an acronym that includes reports, interface, conversion, extension, and workflows that will be developed by the project team to be added to the vanilla solution. Within this process, I also consider unit tests, which are the tests for each custom element. Next process is testing. It starts with the test scripts created during CRP1 and continues until third CRP. It does not include user validation tests. The remaining three processes are just like upgrade projects. They are training and user validation, cutover, and handover takeover. We will now see one of the main values of LeanApps method, which is the management and governance area. This area or macro process is divided into three groups: portfolio governance, change management, and project management. Portfolio governance starts with the benefit management, as any project should start. Projects don't deliver scope or requirements. They deliver value to the organization. The project objective and expected benefits must drive the project plan and will be used along the project for prioritization in case of conflict should arise. Portfolio integration is the second view within portfolio governance, and I'm not only talking about project portfolio, but also governance portfolio. The project should be well integrated with other governance frameworks, such as ITIL, SOX, Quality, and COBIT. ITIL, for instance, will require nice configuration management in order to maintain system later on. But have you ever tried to maintain a system with extensive documentation that is built along the project? Sometimes it's just impossible, and results are useless if all documentation don't reflect the reality. LeanApps method suggests lean and effective documentation that will not only be efficient throughout the project, but it will be easier and faster to keep it updated after the project is delivered. Likewise, some companies have CMMI or SOX policies that requires documents and process that could be very time consuming. The project manager must align the minimum documents, process and policies that may keep the context controlled in a lean approach. And finally, project promotion. What is the point of reporting to top executives that the system was delivered on time and on budget, or to say that the modules, features and functionalities were implemented? They want to know what are the benefits the company will get from the project. So we must translate all those things in business language, and LeanApps method has a great technique and template to do that after the project is concluded. Change management is the second process within management and governance area, and I must agree may not be fully required in all types of projects. Global projects and rollouts tend to require more change management than a simple upgrade, for instance. But some process within change management may be used in all types of projects. They are problem escalation. Some types of problems may require executive action, but what if the executive in charge does not address the problem in time? Will the project manager escalate? How? Political issues in ERP projects are not rare, and sometimes the best approach is to assign someone independently who may be in charge for the escalation process you have in place. Mapping problems, escalating and follow up on them is considered in this process. Second process within change management is stakeholder management. But what exactly is that? Is filling up templates as suggested by Oracle Unified Method enough to get people buying towards the problem? Probably not. LeanApps method may suggest different templates to map influence level for each stakeholder and interesting techniques such as word cafe that may be applied at the project start. What you do during a kickoff also plays an important role towards change management. Who told you that kickoff only deserves a presentation? Third process is roles and responsibilities mapping, which starts with the roles definition for the project, continues with the assigning of those roles to the project team, and ends with a communication discussion with them, whether the roles are clear enough and whether they have any questions or feeling uncomfortable due to anything. This communication and negotiation step is frequently neglected, and gray areas may appear that could seriously impact the project. And now, finally, project buying, which works in parallel with stakeholder management, problem escalation, and roles and responsibilities. Generally speaking, having the right people assigned to a project and have them committed to the project goals and objectives is everything you need to reach success. But how do you map and address conflicts along the project? Project management is the last process within management and governance area, and there are no secrets in what needs to be done. Everyone who has already read PMBOK, Prince2, or any other standard or methodology on project management knows what needs to be done. Generally speaking, we need to manage scope, cost, time, risk, quality, and communication. But do you know how to do it and what really matters in real life? For instance, is identifying the risks and plotting them into a probability and impact matrix enough for the risks to disappear? Don't you think that probability and impact of a given risk may change along the project. For instance, the probability of lacking users may be higher at the beginning of the month when closing happens. The impact of lacking users may also be higher in certain moments of a project. LeanApps method will not only provide useful and well-formatted templates which benefit the communication action, but also share techniques that will make your project much more smooth. It prioritizes visual tools such as Kanban, business modeling canvas, and project management canvas, and adapts those methods to Oracle projects. We finally reached the end, and I hope to be able to give you a glimpse of what LeanApps method may do for your EBS project, regardless it's an upgrade, an implementation, or a rollout. This method is a result from my 17 years of field experience managing Oracle projects, gathered with my deep knowledge in Oracle methodology and Oracle method and techniques as well. Some of those methods I have been teaching for the past decade in project management course for PMI or known universities and colleges in Brazil. There is a download area in this website which is restricted for people who sign the lifetime access, but some templates may download for free just as a sample. Anyway, this download area still does not show all the extent of LeanApps method yet, just some templates. This area will keep evolving along the next months, even though there is just one lifetime signature. And the idea is for you to contact me to evaluate the project context in order to tailor the method for your needs, because no method can fit all sizes. Remember that if the only tool we have is a hammer, everything will look like a nail. We finally finished our presentation. If it was of any value to you, please help me by joining our page at Facebook at LeanApps Method. You may contact me directly for any question you may have at dj@leanappsmethod.com or through the phone 55 as the country code, 11 as the area code, and my personal phone is 98394-4133. Contact me and I'll be glad to help you out. Thanks for watching.